turn the page. Don't know anymore, I don't know anymore. It all first. It all first.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the GSL Codas Season 3 with Tasteless and Artosis.
And 5 other guys that aren't Korean as well.
That's right. It's not just us that are the non-Koreans this season. We have 5 foreigners here in Codas. And I got to say, I did not think we would ever have this, a season like this.
The GSL round of 32
This is so
with 5
cool.
foreigners.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is something new. This is something exciting.
Yeah.
And the wild amount of storylines that we have, it's going to be awesome. Now, guys, look at our schedule. Very different. We are going to power through this round of 32.
That's right.
We are not going to wait.
3 weeks.
Normally it would take 4, but we're going to come
Not
back
now.
into 3. You can't take 4 weeks for 5 foreigners, Tasteless. 3/5 much better.
We're mushing it all together, guys. Definitely tune in on our 3rd week. We have 4 days of the GSL all packed together.
That's going to be a great week indeed. Now, here is our racial distribution. 13 Terrans, 10 Zerg, 9 Protoss players. And, we're not missing that many of the top-end guys. We're missing Byul from Zerg. We're missing Zest from Protoss. Those are the 2 big names that were not able to make it in here. Pretty much everyone else is in here as well.
No non-Koreans with Protoss representation. We had plenty of good non-Koreans who attempted to get into the GSL Codas, but they were unable to make it. So it's primarily Terrans and Protoss, or Terrans and Zerg.
That's right, that's right.
시즌 3인데요. 특히나 이번 시즌은
And now it's time for the Nestea Award.
Who could it be?
It is none other than a Zerg player, Rogue.
That's right.
그 개막전이
10 GSL
기록하고
It's
있는 또 한
incredible.
명의 선수가 있는데요.
That's so hard to do.
꾸준한
This is an
성적을
award that's been very sought after. In some ways, it's almost more impressive than winning a GSL Codas because it shows
2014년
how
시즌 2
tenacious you can be, how stable your play is, despite the meta evolving. Your ability to stay within the top 32 in the world does not change.
Yeah.
And
the
so,
long-term stability is something
네, 먼저
that
투어
everyone should be jealous of.
축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
and so Rogue
네,
is
여러분
getting the
박수로
Nestea
다시 한번
Award.
축하해 주시죠.
She says congratulations and put your hands together for Rogue. Show it to your fans. Is it pointed the right way?
네,
There it is.
축하드립니다.
should be a
It's like,
picture
oh
of
God, did we
Nestea
forget to
on
print something on there?
소감부터 들어볼게요.
일단 제가
So you're the
이렇게
7th
코데스를
player
많이
to get the Nestea Award. How do you feel?
되게 신기하고요. 되게 시간 참
I
빠르게.
actually didn't realize I've been in the Codas
정말
10
꾸준한
times.
성적인 것
Guess time
같아요.
flies.
네.
그런 의미에서 지난 시즌 8강 너무 아쉽거든요.
Your performance has
저도
been
너무
very
아쉽고,
consistent.
그래서 이번 시즌에는 진짜 또
Last season was so close.
열심히 할 생각이에요.
네, 여러분 모두 그 어윤수
I really
선수와의
regret
접전
what happened
기억하시죠?
against Sue last season.
정말
Yeah, you had him
아까웠는데
dead, guys.
그 사이에
Sue just
어떤 시간을
barely held on.
보내셨어요?
One clutch ling in the right spot.
그때 너무 아쉬워서 그날은 정말 아쉽게 생각하고 그 다음 날부터 연습 열심히 하고 있었어요.
So when I was eliminated,
네,
와, 이번 시즌 더 기대가 되네요.
네.
I didn't do anything for a little
후회
while.
없었으면
I took some time to
좋겠는데
get myself, or
팬들도
rather pull
그걸
myself back
기대하고
together and
있습니다.
practice more.
이번 시즌
Here I
이번엔
am.
각오를 팬들에게 마지막으로 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
So there's a lot of fans down here who've been cheering for you. They're hoping you can make it past round of 8. Do you have anything you want to say to them?
좀덜 돼 있는 느낌으로 하는데
Yes.
고비만 넘기면은
Since I've got to play in the opening day,
준비를 열심히 해가지고 이번에는
feels-
4강도 한번 가볼 수도 있을
it
것
feels to me like my prep isn't as good as last time, but my goal is to get to the semifinals this time around.
인재덕상 주인공이
A good goal
됐습니다.
indeed.
축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
Once again, congratulations.
자,
Thank you.
이렇게
And he
일곱
definitely
번째
can make it.
인재덕상
He
수상자
had
이병렬
Sue
선수
dead to rights
만나봤는데요.
you know,
이번
in that
시즌
last season. So
보겠습니다.
he is
자,
super
그럼
strong
코데스
at the moment and has been
오늘
number
경기에
1 on the
나서는
Korean ladder
선수를
for a
확인해
long
보겠습니다.
time.
제가 GSL 엄청 많이 참가했는데 우승자보단 아직은 도전자에 더 익숙한 느낌이 많이 들어요. 그냥 아쉬운 점은 없는데 힘들긴 힘들었어. 준비하느라고 되게 많이 힘들었어.
지난 시즌 진짜 다 이긴 경기인데 이겼다는 생각을 해가지고 긴장을 너무 많이 해가지고 실수가 나왔고 지난 시즌에 너무 아쉽기 때문에 이번 시즌에 더 열심히 할 생각이에요.
32강 최종전에 떨어졌는데 좀 상대가 우승자여서 좀 제가 제 스스로가 작아지면서 플레이하지 않았나 그런 점이 아쉽고요. 그래서 이번 시즌에는 누구랑 붙더라도 좀 자신 있게 플레이하려고 자존감을 키워서 돌아왔습니다.
So my name is Elazer. I came here from Poland. I play Zerg and I don't have currently any team. So I came to Korea for 2 weeks just to play IM qualifiers and also GSL qualifiers to test myself and worked pretty well. At least I qualified to GSL.
박스가 쉽지 않다 이렇게 생각했어요.
뭔가 32강이면 한 명 정도 쉬운 상대가 있어야 되는데 제 입장에서는 3명 다 어려운 상대인 것 같아요.
이병렬 선수가 요즘에 엄청 잘하시더라고요. 또 엄청 기세 타고 있는 선수가 같은 조에 있고 또 우승자 선수까지 있어갖고 이번 시즌 좀 어려운 조가 될 것 같아요.
I think my group is pretty hard. So it's GuMiho, the GSL champion. Ro is pretty much rank 1 on ladder right now. And Hin is also pretty good Terran, but I think I've got some chances to advance.
외국 선수가 진짜로 희한하게 저그전만 잘하더라고요. 저그전만 80몇 프로더라고요. 레더에서 승률이 테란전은 40몇 프로인가 30몇 프로인데 그래가지고 하필이면 또
이레이저 선수도 제가 뽑긴 했지만 그렇게 쉬운 상대가 아닌 것 같아요.
외국인 선수 중에서도 강한 외국인 선수고 그래도 이레이저 선수만큼은 이기고 싶고요. 일단 뭐 한국인 선수다 보니까 외국인 선수한테는 좀 이겨야 되지 않나라는 생각을 갖고 있어요.
I think probably the hardest will be GuMiho because my ZVT is just terrible right now. ZVZ, I think I'm doing extremely well. Actually, I'm quite surprised. And Keen is also quite doable. So I think GuMiho is by far the hardest player, and I will practice hard to beat him.
제가 GSL 8강 가본 지가 한 5년은 되는 것 같은데 그래도 8강만큼은 개인적으로 깨보고 싶은 생각이 있고요. 또 8강 가면 또 누가 어떻게 될지 모르긴 하거든요. 확률상 또. 그래서 일단 8강만큼은 이번 시즌에 꼭 깨보고 싶어요.
이번에는 꼭 진짜 결승 무대, 제가 맨날 결승 무대를 간다고 하고 맨날 못 갔거든요. 진짜 이번에는 결승 무대를 꼭 가르겠습니다.
우승했다고 자만하지 않고 도전자의 자세로 이번에도 열심히 노력해서 다시 한번 우승컵 밑으로 올릴 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
2017 Hot 6 GSL Season 3 Codex. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we will.
All right, we are going to get this match going in just a little bit. I got to say, I'm very excited to have Elazer in the GSL Codex. I think this is easily one of the best foreign players of all time.
Yeah, Elazer is in fantastic shape, as you saw Rogue saying there. His win percentage on the ladder against Zerg is like 80%. In fact, he's 6-0 against Rogue apparently on the ladder, and Rogue has been #1 on Korean ladder for, I want to say, like 2 months now. Like, he has been just destroying that, over 7K MMR basically the entire time.
And what's funny about it is that all the players are saying that Elazer has a phenomenal win rate on ladder in ZBZ.
Yeah.
He's just very, very good, which is kind of crazy. You know, he had really good ZBZ we saw at the last BlizzCon as well, but it seems like he might have even improved since that.
Yeah, it's definitely shockingly good, but is he good enough to beat GuMiho, and especially GuMiho's style of mech? It's something that's been very difficult for everyone to deal with thus far, and GuMiho is on fire at the moment. But, you know, there's that little bit of a championship curse, right? Normally people who win don't, you know, they come back and you know everything about their style. Maybe they're resting on their laurels a bit. GuMiho says that's not the case, but I guess tonight's games will really show us.
You're certainly right. When you get a champion, sometimes they've been a little bit too steady to come in with some healthy strats in the round of 32 the next season. I think if Elazer wins against GuMiho here, he gets out of this group 100%. I'm expecting GuMiho to take Elazer out, and then Elazer has to punch up in order to escape out of this group and move on to the round of 16.
I think it's a tough one, but if GuMiho gets out in first place, then Elazer is perhaps lined up to beat Rogue to get out.
You saw that
have to
towel.
see. Yeah.
The towel is back. He has a new towel, by the way. We've never seen that towel before. That's where his esports earnings have gone, Artosis.
Oh my gosh. A new, very special towel.
That's a velvet
Like,
towel. It's an expensive towel.
Is that microfiber? Whoa, GuMiho.
I thought only astronauts were allowed to use towels like that, Artosis. He bought that straight from NASA. So GuMiho, as you can see with his results, very consistent in all the matchups. He really proved that he has his own style outside of the way the Four Horsemen play the matchup.
Indeed.
We're at the point in time in StarCraft 2 where Terran, it has been proven, can have many different approaches, and you can come out being one of the best players in the world.
He's the build master, GuMiho is. So that's going to make it even harder here for Elazer, who has said that he has kind of a hard time against Terran. That is his weak matchup. That's where we saw him struggle a lot, even at BlizzCon. When you think about it, yeah, he ended up losing to Dark, but really his match against TY, if you recall, was just so one-sided, right? This has always been the hardest matchup for him.
Now, what I wonder is, does Elazer try to hunker down and play the best macro game, the best standard game of his life? He might try to do that. Or does he play around his apparent weakness and try to end this game with a timing attack with some kind of a cutthroat move?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because he's against GuMiho, so I think that GuMiho basically has a couple of modes, right? He has 3 Rex Reaper and he has Mech. So I think in this type of situation, this might be the best type of Terran for him to go up against. I think you put Elazer against Innovation, for instance, who's just going to macro Marauder Mine like ridiculously well, and that's going to be the hardest possible thing for Elazer to go through. But something like Mech, it's going to have different types of holes. It's going to require a different type of play style. Maybe Elazer has a shot here.
The path to a maxed out mech army, can be a flimsy one.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways you could punch a hole in the Terran's defenses. Will that happen this time? I have no idea. Again, this is a best of 3. The winner goes on to the winner's match. The loser, the losers. So nobody's knocked out just yet in this group of the GSL Codex, but this is going to be setting the pace for how this group is going to look as we start out here in day 1 of the GSL Codex.
Well, we're starting out on Ascension to Ire. It's a really big 2-player map. So if GuMiho goes Mech here like he did against Sue in the finals, we'll see what Elazer can do with that many bases.
We have 5 foreigners in the GSL Codex. One of them is Elazer, and he will now face off against the Codex champion, GuMiho, in a fight, a struggle to move on to the round of 16. In the bottom right, the GSL Codex champion.
Psystorm Gaming, GuMiho.
Gold. Got to point out the gold banner for the champion.
You're very swift. But wait, what if Elazer's is gold and you're just like calling colors?
No, it's going to be blue.
Ooh.
I'm from the future. I'm a time traveler. In the upper left, in the red, from Poland.
Elazer.
It's red.
It's a different timeline. You shouldn't have stepped on the butterfly. Wow, the crowd actually going wild down there for Elazer. People really excited to have this many foreigners. You know, it was so exciting having Scarlet get in a couple seasons ago. And then, of course, Scarlet and Major or Special or Ghosty Terran, whatever you want to call Juan. And then, of course, this season, having 5 foreigners get in. This is a sick record. This is so awesome.
Some support here for Elazer in the audience. I got to say, I am so excited to have this many non-Koreans. I did not think we were going to get to this point. I thought maybe it would be Korean-dominated
5 again.
with 1 or 2 non-Koreans. Maybe we get 2 in, and it's party time.
Well, we get 2 in, and I'm just like...
I'm elated.
Yeah. I'm Elazered.
I'm Elazered in this case.
But, you know, it's so awesome. This season is going to just rock, and I honestly think that we're going to get 2 in the round of 16. Not exactly sure which 2 yet, but I think it's definitely a real possibility. These guys are at a really high level.
So I also want to point out, it's going to be very sad if none of the non-Koreans, if they don't advance.
Yeah, if everyone gets smashed 0-4, it's like, ugh.
But
we got to make a non-Korean group.
That's right.
That would be so funny. So, yeah. This was a Command Center first into double gas here from GuMiho, so that's kind of cool. Whereas Elazer just very standard.
And we got some
Polish
support
friendship.
here. That's right.
You know, you're Czech and I'm Polish, so it's true.
Yeah, this is true.
There you go.
That's a true alliance here.
That guy and Elazer and me and you. Oh, it's all the same.
That's all there is anymore. So I want to point out something, because I think a lot of people who just followed StarCraft 2 might not know this in RTS history, but Poland produced such a huge number of great Brood War players.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, it wasn't just like there were 1 or 2. There were tons. There were guys that a lot of top people hadn't heard of who were just training with other top Polish players who were better than some of the other top European players in the entire region.
Yeah.
Poland has always been a huge source of excellent RTS players.
It's very true, and it's kind of interesting as well because they were all Protosses and Zergs.
There was Raven.
Yeah, Raven
was
and Tarson were the only Terrans, but they never really hit the level of the other Polish.
The female player who was quite good?
Oh, God.
Efka?
I think,
yeah. She was actually really good.
Yeah, she was quite a good player.
She was solid. Yeah. You're right. It was mostly Protoss and Zergs, and that seems to be a trend in a lot of countries where, like, for instance, Russia historically was known for having a ton of good Terrans.
Yes, that's right.
America
as well.
Yeah. They were
Eat it, taste it. By the way, I do want to point out something real quick that I saw while we were talking here.
Yeah.
Of course, GuMiho is going mech. This is kind of what we expect, but this is actually like a battle mech that he's going for, where it's Hellion Cyclone. And this is... I don't know if he's going to stay on Hellion Cyclone specifically. Anyways, we saw him do this like on Whirlwind against Sue, if I recall correctly. But one thing that I wanted to point out was that with the Reaper, he immediately looked for proxy hatches. He went up to his third base, and he went down around the bottom of the map. So he was expecting possibly a cheese here out of Elazer. I think the Koreans, now that Elazer's been on the ladder a bit, they've got to study him a little bit. They've played against him. They realize, and especially GuMiho here, that this is his weak matchup, so maybe he should be expecting cheese.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to see how GuMiho utilizes, like you were saying, this battle mech style. And what Artosis means when he says that, it's kind of like when we've seen these battle Zerg styles. Yeah. They want to pick a fight. They actually want to engage you in the middle of the map, where traditionally mech is identified, at least generally speaking, as an opening where you want to stay back and defend and turtle up.
Totally.
And just play a very, very safe game. And you want to get to a critical point later on after surviving any kind of timing or cheese. You get to this moment where you are way stronger and you can usually close the game. But this is a very different approach here from GuMiho.
Very much so. And just to kind of go over that for a second, why we would say that, like, for instance, siege tanks get exponentially stronger as the number grows, whereas cyclones actually get weaker the later it gets. Like, if you have a bunch of cyclones, eventually you're going to have ones in the back that aren't firing, right? Like, if you're maxed out in cyclones, that is not like a particularly good unit combination.
The cyclones rubbing up against the backs of the other cyclones, unable to advance forward.
It's kind of like roaches or adepts in that regard, right? I mean, they're not down at that level of, bad scaling in some regards, but anyways, this is more of a battle-y mech type of play. GuMiho is out roaming the map, keeping some control. I think he is going to transition out of this eventually, but will he be able to get anything done with this many Hellions?
He's going to send some Hellions in here now. It looks like Elazer is pretty much prepared. If he can take out... Okay, he does not take out one more Hellion. Sometimes if you kill off the 2 Hellions and they only got 2 drones, it's sort of a loss for the Terran, even though you did interrupt the Zerg mining. By the way, the factory explosion has really kicked in now, so we're going to see the Terran begin to ramp up production quite heavily. However, with this production coming out here, I feel like if Elazer can last for a long time in this game, I don't think that Terran's going to have all the necessary tools to have a clean closer in late game.
Yeah, this is
at least so
really
far
cool.
from what I've seen. I mean, I'm not too familiar with his style. Okay, now he actually adds tanks in later on.
Well, this is, it's kind of, right, he's forced roaches because he's gone for battle mech style. You're not going to be able to stop that with Zerglings. You're not going to be able to jump up immediately into Swarm Hosts against that, right? Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, Swarm Host auto counters mech. No, you don't know what you're talking about. But what he's done here is he's forced roaches with the battle mech. Now he's going into 3-factory siege tank, which will crush roaches, right? And that's where it slows down a bit for GuMiho, and then Elazer can go whatever attack he wants. But he's not that high on drones as we see right now. This is a lot of roaches he's brought across the map for an attack.
We see the tanks getting set up so that he can survive and now a transition into late game, but I think this timing might be very strong, although the position here from GuMiho is pretty cool. This counterattack here of the roaches because on top of the depot he does.
That is a huge move, but siege tanks are sieging up here. Getting through that wall immediately, though, he picks off one of these siege tanks, turns around and engages this army.
By the way, the Hellbats are not that great at trying to outmaneuver Corrosive Bile, so these may do more damage than simply making this army move around. That being said, though, it seems like the siege tanks did enough damage to Elazer's army that it's overall been thinned out, and Elazer will have to back off.
Yeah, not a whole lot left over for him there. He kills 10 SCVs. He picks off one of the siege tanks, so that's some good stuff. But GuMiho, I think, is pretty unscathed here. I do like his position after this attack, even though it started off looking so promising.
I agree with you, Artosis. And if you look at the supplies right now, with the 124, I've actually stopped using the Todd French accents. Everybody's memed it too hard. It's done. That meme is old. It's a dead meme now, guys.
It's a dead meme.
But if you, in all seriousness, if you look at the supplies, the fact that Terran is meching and is now up, that's not a good sign.
No, it's not.
Normally it's the other way around where the mech player gets maxed out much later on, but the way that Elazer approached this does not allow him to really get into a healthy, beefy Zerg state later on in the game, especially with the attack that seemed to bounce off of GuMiho rather than damage him and threaten him.
Yeah, it didn't really do all that much, but you know, like we were talking about at the beginning of the game, this is Ascension Ire. It's a really big map, so even though GuMiho has this quite nice advantage at this moment, to walk across this map, there's a lot of area where he can get flanked. It's a long travel distance for him to actually move his army across, so I don't think he's going to be able to just walk over and kill him, especially considering we do have some Swarm Hosts on the way.
Well, the Swarm Host should definitely curb any momentum that the Terran can have with the mech army on the map. Let's see if he actually gets into a good position and does damage before the Swarm Host can get over there. Also, keep in mind, Artosis, if he sieges the siege tanks up and the Swarm Hosts come out and Terran loses all the siege tanks, that's a great reset button on GuMiho that allows Elazer to actually go right back into this game, probably in a much more healthy state.
Now, does he have enough Hellbats that are going to be mixed in here to take out all of the Locusts before the siege tanks die? That's going to be a very important thing to watch. A ton of Cyclones on the way as well. This is just brute force coming out of GuMiho right now.
Okay, the Cyclones are getting thinned out right now. Hellbat numbers are low. There seems to be perhaps just slightly too much for Terran. The Zerg units aren't quite able to attack altogether, and these siege tanks are getting premium damage over in this location. In fact, I think this hatchery is going to go down 100%.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Dude, +2 Cyclones and siege tanks. He has countered Roaches so hard that the majority of this army just cannot do anything, and GG is called. GuMiho cleans up with a fresh take on mech.
Nicely done there by GuMiho, but it's not over yet. If Elazer can come back in the next 2 games, he will advance. But I have to say, that's the guy that we saw winning the finals in the last season. It perfectly makes sense. He's got his very own unique style to meching. He's making it work despite a lot of people making claims online that you couldn't mech. They were wrong.
He is the mech master. He is the greatest mecher in the world by, like, infinity. Okay, like, he brought it back by going Thor drops against Locusts, like stopping those dead in their tracks. Here he is popping out like battle mech into siege tanks. As soon as Elazer wastes an army there, he just masses up for a couple minutes and goes. And that was super well done. He's so completely aware of what he's able to do with these mech units.
The big question now is, how does Elazer play in game number 2? We saw he tried to go head-to-head against GuMiho and was knocked down. Does Elazer try to pull the rug out of GuMiho here in game number 2? Is that perhaps too predictable? Or does Elazer try to take all the things he's learned in that last game and reconfigure a better strat, a better build order, and try to execute that? I have no idea. This is a very tall order to try to take out GuMiho that is not only the most recent GSL Codas champion, but is also showing us a completely new style and new approach to TVZ with mech.
Now, will he play that style? Will he go for something else here on Abyssal? It's a smaller map, but a lot of bases still.
You can tell them that you tried, but there ain't no going back. They'll never catch
me. In the bottom right, in the blue, winning the last GSL Codas.
Storm Gaming, GuMiho.
In the upper left, in the red,
Elazer
from Poland.
Tassels. Are we going to see 3-Rex Reaper? Is it time?
I think so. Just looking at the positioning of the barracks, right? I think it's I'm like, no, he's going to mech from there. Yeah. He's really going to bend the rules of this game.
He's going to wall in with 2 extra factories.
Yeah. He's going to make 3 barracks and wall in and then go mech.
I mean, you always could transition in mech, I guess, with 3 barracks. You can make your add-ons really fast.
We've got all these factories out in the front.
He has like so many reactors, they're in the way and stuff, he can't use them all.
There's roaches coming up and hitting the factories with Hellions running around behind the factories. It's not pretty, guys. That's in 2024 StarCraft 2 GSL. Finally, they made it work. So
Well,
yes,
that's when Alpha Star or whatever it's going to be called, Deep Mind, like beats StarCraft, and it's just a bunch of computers playing against each other and like innovations in there too.
We've got to take AlphaGo and Deep Blue. Now it's Alpha Red Stop. I don't know. I got to go home. I think after that horrible joke, I think I'm actually banned from casting.
Oh my God!
I think they have to cut my tongue out after that. Thanks for coming down, guys. Hope you're enjoying the games.
Oh, they are.
Oh, getting some hot six there. Man, that joke was horrible. I gotta retire.
Did you call it Alpha Deep Red or something?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
It's like
oh man,
Beta Shallow Green. I had something I thought was better concocted in my head, but
yeah,
I don't know.
That's
I'm gonna
all
go
right.
home.
That's all right. Where was that drone headed? Was he going to take a third
I
over
think
to the
he
right?
was. It looked
That's
like
okay.
it. He would have had enough minerals to make a hatchery there.
Or maybe he was going to go like hide a hatchery somewhere, like against Reaper play. I don't know. That was a weird drone.
It seems odd.
Well, he's making well, that Spore is just to save a drone, but we'll see how his 3 racks Reaper defense is. Of
It's
course.
not to save a drone or toast. He's getting ready for oracles. Take you a minute. You should have seen Artosis' face. You should have seen Artosis' face.
not even a Protoss!
I saw him trying to process it in his head.
I know, it was like such a weird, stupid
Yeah.
thing to say.
Yeah.
He's getting ready for oracles.
That's right.
Oh my God.
We got the second command center now coming up here while the Reaper pressure is staying on. Now the Queen's pretty low up here. He has to actually keep this at a proper distance. He actually chucked the Queen over the spawning pool. That was pretty cool.
Oh my God, denying that gas return as well.
16 Lings on the way with speed. He might be able to trap the Reapers if they're out in the wrong point. He has to hide the Lings and also hide the speed until the last second. Now, if these... Okay, this might be premature.
Oh!
Wait.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Oh, he actually juked and jived very, very well back there.
He did, but he lost some of these. He lost like 4 Reapers or so there.
This takes the wind out of the sails of the Reaper opening there. Now the Reapers have to play a very defensive game, and they're not, at the moment, at a very good angle to try to defend themselves. Normally you use ridges with your own grenades to try to control the Ling movement.
Dude.
But it seems like he's actually knocked him all the way back home.
Look at units lost. 2
drone?
Lings and 1 drone for 5 Reapers.
That's very good.
Byun just turned over in his grave, Tasteless.
And he's not even dead, guys.
I know.
He just sleeps in a
Oh my
coffin. It's
God.
really weird. So
He does look a little bit like a vampire, and
Yeah.
I've never seen him in the sun.
that's true.
That's true.
I think we're
But
on to
actually,
something here.
when you take pictures of him, he shows up, so I'm not really sure what that is.
Is that in all vampire lore that they disappear if you take photos, or is that in only certain ones?
I'm pretty sure. Well, it's not in
I thought
vampire
it was
lore from
mirrors.
before
I thought it was
cameras.
mirrors, not photos.
Well, that would work the same, right? Because what is a camera but a big mirror machine?
no. Oh man. Yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way. Thank you.
Yeah. See?
We got the Reapers coming out. Now, these Reapers are supposed to be continuing to bleed off Zerg units and controlling how many drones could be made. But Elazer shut that down pretty effectively. I think Elazer's in very good shape this game. And
He
now we're going to
is.
see Elazer actually go head-to-head post-Reaper opening in this game. Important to note here, whenever you're making this many Reapers, you slow down on making Marines early on, obviously, since they come out of the same structure. Now, players like Byun and Maro a little bit showed us that you can combo the Reapers effectively with the Marines and the medevacs while you push. It requires a different type of control and priority decision-making.
Yeah.
We will see if this is going to be effective against Elazer, because even though Elazer claims that this is his worst matchup, I think he's still pretty solid in the grand scheme of things in a ZVT.
Oh, of course. I mean, he's fantastic at it. It's just when he's hitting these top world players, he doesn't win as often as he does against the Zerg and Protoss ones. But now bringing out the Medevacs Reaper drops, definitely something that we've seen. Something I haven't seen is anyone taking this as their third base. Definitely a very different wave.
It's pretty bold.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I see a lot of things about it that like make a lot of sense, right? You get your creep spread way out there. They can't abuse that little ramp up into your natural. So some very cool stuff about taking that.
Okay, with the Queen here, he can keep nibbling away at the health of the medevac. This should eventually be pushed out. In fact, I think GuMiho might have overstayed his welcome back there. He might have to go all the way back home with this. What do you see?
An armory.
Oh, look at
I think he is going to go back after this.
All right.
This is
I
kind
guess
of
just not with the add-ons there at the barracks that we were joking about.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird though, right? He's getting an armory, so I guess he wants Hellbats with this, but I guess it could be Mac. He has Liberators on the way as well. This is a weird-looking push.
Well, GuMiho might not feel comfortable going into a super late game and might try to transition this into a timing that either kills Elazer or knocks him into a crippled state later on in this game. Now, the Lings are coming down here. There are not a ton of Hellions here to combat this, so the Lings are doing a decent amount of damage. The splitting here by GuMiho, though, very patient. However, the medevacs are slowly being ebbed away as far as HP goes.
You know, he lost those Liberators to the Queen, so definitely very well done there by Elazer. He continues to hold on, and GuMiho is not finding the ground he was hoping to here with this build. Where is he going to transition from here as well? Because if he's going into mech, he's a day late to that, right? Like, he's just making 2 Hellions and 2 Liberators at a time right now. Is he going to be able to actually kill Elazer?
He might. We're getting close to the mid-game climax here with this push. It's either going to end the game or Elazer's going to be able to hang on. Now, the Banelings are coming up. Keep in mind, the Queen's still doing a lot of damage to these Liberators. I think, oh, wait, hold on. These Lings are connecting with these Marines down here. The ground army is pretty soft here. He needs to get a few more Queens and try to angle against this Liberator. He might be able to, Queen goes in range. He needed to get that.
He really needed to keep that Queen alive right there. He just lost 5 or 6 Queens, and now he's in a lot of trouble here. I mean, that sucks that he lost those Queens for sure. Now another Queen coming out. Hopefully he'll be able to pick off these Liberators. Oh, God, it gets picked off.
Okay, he needs to get the Queen again in a good position. Very nice juggling right now here by GuMiho. He's making this push work with just the bare minimum amount.
Look at this wild way right now that GuMiho is playing with these really weird Liberators taking over everywhere, even going over this hatchery right now. The Lings having to battle under here.
Okay, he needs to get these Lings over here. He's getting some decent surrounds here on the Hellbats. The medevacs are still in the game, and they haven't been picked off because the Queens have to prioritize the Liberators first and foremost.
Dude, this entire game from the Liberator setup to the bases Elazer is taking looks like an Escher
GG! Elazer takes game 2!
Oh my God.
Wow.
Dude, that game was so weird with the bases, that strategy here from GuMiho, you know, with the Liberators set up all over the place. Crazy.
I'm so impressed.
I see someone just brought you a pizza.
They brought us a pizza.
Yeah, is there meat on the pizza?
I'm going to check it right now. Elazer won the first game. Yeah, there's meat on this.
Yeah, okay. Well, they didn't bring us a pizza. They brought you a pizza.
That's how it works.
So
you got to know your place.
But dude, that was that game was so interesting because GuMiho here, he has not rested on his laurels as a champion. He's already shown us 2 new strategies out of 2 games today. I have never seen a push quite like that. I've seen Reapers and Medevacs, but to go into Reactor, basically Hellbats with Reactor Liberators and just kind of setting that up and trying to get that push going. That is crazy. That is awesome. And the way that Elazer was expanding outwards like that in a line, I've never seen on the trillion games of Abyssal Reef that we've seen. I've never seen anyone expand like that. That's really cool.
I have to say, that was a nail biter when that push was happening because it almost worked. It almost ended for Elazer. We saw that one Queen get shot down. That Queen was central to trying to take out those Liberators so that then the medevacs could be targeted. He did it. So what does GuMiho do on Odyssey?
I mean, I think he's just going to fall back into mech play here. Does he really want to go into 3RX Reaper again? He did terribly with 3RX Reaper to open. He lost 5 Reapers for 2 Lings and a drone. Are you kidding me? If you attack, move the Reapers, you get more than that.
He made it look like you should never do that. Elazer handled that so well. He knew that GuMiho was going to be in the middle of the map, but he punished him. Let's see what opening GuMiho does in game number 3.
You can fly, you can tell them that you tried, but there ain't no going back. They'll never catch me.
In the bottom right, in the blue.
Psystorm Gaming, GuMiho.
In the upper left, in the red, he is
Elazer.
Wow, a lot of support here for Elazer in the studio.
Taking a game off of the defending champion there in that last one, and a wild one indeed. Elazer having to be very flexible against a GuMiho that has brought a new set of builds, the build master himself.
So everybody's got pizza here, except for our toasts. I guess we didn't get a vegetarian one.
No, we never have.
No, we did one time.
Well, that is only because of the Morheims, man. They're the only ones that think about me in this regard.
That's right. But it's okay. I got my dinner covered now. I'm in a good mood. Pizza and StarCraft. Can't go wrong with this. So in the last 2 games...
Someone asked her in the bunker what type of a boss Mr. Che is.
It's a bad one now.
No, I mean, has he ever gotten me pizza? Nope.
No, man. Unfortunately not, Artosis. In this series, I need to point out, so far we've had 2 radically different games coming out from the Terran.
Yeah.
Elazer has stuck with a more traditional Zerg role of being the reactionary player, trying to get a read, and then countering whatever the Terran is doing. In Game 1, it did not work at all. GuMiho went with what brought him to the CODES Finals and ultimately made him a champion, using a very alternative mech style. This time, well, I should say in game number 2, GuMiho went with a direction that is actually much more leaned towards players who are what most Terrans are doing. There he is, the guy that didn't get you vegetarian pizza.
Mr. Che. But yeah, you're
so I'm assuming that GuMiho wants to do something probably more like what we saw in game number 1.
I think so. Like, that was a really interesting strategy that we saw him try there. And I actually, you know, when you think about it, the way he was setting that up, if Elazer had taken the normal third base, right, that's near the natural, then that's going to be a very thin area where those Liberators are going to truly dominate. You're not going to have flanking area for your Queens at all. So that build might have been more built to destroy somebody who's expanding normally on this map. But Elazer kind of doing everything in his own way in that last game, definitely, I think, helping him to get that victory. But, I mean, that was so much new stuff in that game. I feel like my brain needs a while to,
to process it.
Yeah, it was like when you said that he was preparing for oracles. I'm just like, wait. This is all so weird.
When you look at the playstyle that Elazer has, it's really exciting because a lot of non-Korean players tend to mimic what they see good Korean players do. They're not necessarily ahead of the curve, but in this series so far, I feel like Elazer is very much so. Playing his own style, he's marching to his own beat, and GuMiho is having to actually respond with instinct. And in Game 2, it didn't serve him well.
It's funny when you say it like that, because it's true. Like, a lot of people, this is the way that you can actually get good at StarCraft to begin, is just copy top-end pros.
Yeah.
Definitely true. But once you hit this high level, as Bruce Lee says, man, you have to express yourself through the game. Like, if you're not bringing anything original, you're never going to be the best.
Or as Jackie Chan said, you got to learn your own style of mech against Zerg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's one of my favorites.
That's right.
His favorite actor.
That's why I have all his movies on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So, we have the Liberators coming out now. The Terran hasn't really pushed out that much at all. We've had the probing by the Reaper, but there's nothing dramatic that's really happened here. We're still waiting to see when push comes to shove, how does Elazer handle the pressure from GuMiho, the pressure that really no Zerg's been able to handle, at least in the last season of the GSL.
Yeah, GuMiho has been, well, I mean, he's the undefeated champion, right? Like, yeah, you'll have some games here and there, but overall really destroyed that last season and won his first championship, and very much hoping to be able to do something like that again. Now, if Elazer can take him down in this first match, he is, like, in fantastic shape to advance.
Certainly. Well, considering GuMiho was the only player we were pretty much 100% sure Elazer would not be able to defeat.
Yeah.
By the way, Tick got that Reaper pretty easily. We have the Liberator coming up here now. We'll see if the Liberator can get into a good position. We have seen Terrans hemorrhage Liberators before. It was pretty trendy early on when the Liberator was first introduced into the game to send that out a lot to try to just take out workers, but stuff just like drops can act as a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You can absolutely end up losing that Liberator, and then you have a lot less muscle in your push later on.
Now, I love how much he's been blinding Elazer here. He's been picking off scouting lings and whatnot. He's been pushing back all the Overlords. Now a Medevac is zooming over here as Hellbats are just about ready.
Okay, hold on.
Ooh,
is the Liberator going to get any kills? Hold it. The location of the drones is premium.
Ooh.
7 kills so far. The rest of the Hellions are wiped out. I'm not clear on how many kills the Liberator at the top got, but it looks like he's trying to target down these Cyclones.
Yeah, great defense here from Elazer. He has his units everywhere he needs them, and he's even taking the gold base at this point. And you look at those trades, I think that Elazer is going to be reasonably happy with where he's at in this game.
I think he's basically fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to lose drones ever, but I think the number of drones he lost is acceptable.
Yeah. Like, the harassment wasn't completely terrible here from GuMiho, but it's his third base just now landing. His production, he put a lot of money into actually getting early units, so factories number 2 and 3 just finished up. So it's not like he's going to have a big push coming anytime soon. Elazer has forever to prepare.
And the big question that raises for me is, with Elazer taking the gold base, is there any way for GuMiho to actually threaten it? I mean, when the gold base is up, I almost called it the Gumi base. When the gold base is up, the amount of momentum that Zerg gets, it can be so strong that it can actually stop a Terran from taking their own gold base.
Yeah.
And that allows Zerg to be in a very comfortable position for a while.
And I think he is going to be in that position. It looks like what GuMiho is doing, he's going towards his older style of mech. And by older, it's still really quite new, but Thor drops, I think, is what is going to be the order of the day.
I think you're right.
So that you can harass a little bit with, but that Hydralisk Den is already in the way, and I think that is a great counter.
We have a few links coming up here. In the nick of time, he actually blocks those links from coming out, but does not stop that one from escaping. And drones are now mining from the gold base. 5 queens there to defend.
Dude, I think Elazer's going to be able to take this game.
I think you're right.
Like,
I think GuMiho tripped himself up early on, and he's going to pay for it.
Yeah, he really tried to get that extra damage in, and Elazer's defense was simply put too strong. Now his creep spread is looking strong here once again. He's getting great upgrades. The fact that he has like 15 Hydras out right now, I don't see GuMiho being able to do any damage for a while, which means this game has to go long no matter what.
Yeah, GuMiho will have to hunker down and I guess allow the Zerg to get this econ advantage and probably try to counter exactly what Zerg does from here in the hopes that he can eventually solidify a position in the super late game. The Thor drop's coming out. I think this is going to be one of the bigger deciding moments.
Yes.
Is this going to do any damage, or will this get shot down immediately? And actually, these few Banelings up here, this Thor drop might end up tripping up GuMiho because he might not be watching.
Yeah. Okay, see, that is such a good counter to the Thor drops. A lot of people have just been making like roaches and stuff against these, but Thor range plus damage output is so good, and then you don't kill the medevacs and they just get away when they want. Good reaction
6
from
kills.
GuMiho at least.
That's definitely enough, though. 6 is perfectly fine.
Totally. Could have been much worse, but he did get out of there. Now, GuMiho trying to harass, but again, he has to just get a little bit later into the game. Now, the Swarm hosts are coming out, but GuMiho is the best at dealing with Swarm hosts by far out of any mech player. He shoots those locusts out of the sky. He chases down any Swarm hosts that are trying to get too close because he does have this mobile army. But with the Hydras, he might be able to escort them close enough that they can just start to get some real damage done.
So far, he's used the Thors to take out some creep tumors, but that's somewhat insignificant compared to what he really wants to be doing with these Thors. If you look at Elazer's supply, he's about to become maxed out. And this means he's going to have some wiggle room to try to punish some of these bases. We see Terran expanding just down here, now that that link's been killed off, but it's not at the gold base. Now, the money that Elazer got from the gold base actually allows him to take more bases at a quicker rate. So there's this explosiveness that Zerg has economically that's going to really help Elazer out here. But losing these Swarm hosts is going to be a problem in of itself.
Yeah, look at GuMiho. He's really on top of trying to push those Swarm hosts back. Does not want to take that repeating damage. He has the Thors and the Medevacs going up towards the north right now, towards the Zerg base. So maybe some additional harassment will get done over here. Hive just about to finish here as well.
Okay. These Hellions are actually doing a lot more damage than I expected them to be doing here. Now, with the Thor drop coming in here, is he going to actually try to drop over at this additional base? It looks like he really wants to try to do as much damage as he can, maybe even take this out. I have to imagine that Zerg should be able to take this. Excuse me, there's actually an attack of its own over here at the Terran's 4th base.
Whoa! He gets one of the Thors in the medevac, so pretty good right there.
What are you doing?
Oh God, oh God, Elazer, no, not like this!
No!
Oh man, we'll end up losing a few of these, unfortunately. That was Elazer focusing somewhere else, and GuMiho really capitalizing upon it.
That being said, I guess it's not the end of the world he lost some of those Swarm hosts.
Yeah,
I think it's
not like,
well,
I don't think that's going to be game ending, but this is not good.
This is not the way you want to do it, guys. If you guys are taking notes at home, don't let this happen.
Look at that. And I mean, these few locusts won't be able to get anything done. GuMiho so on top of these Swarm hosts thus far.
Okay, this push is pretty scary. He may be able to smash Elazer here. The sheer number of tanks.
Yeah, it's like only Hydras against him right now. There's a few Banes out,
well, this
which definitely
angle's
can't help.
Not preferable for Well, hold on. I didn't see these hydras from the bottom. Well, never
Ooh,
mind.
but
That's
they're on
not-
a move command right
Oh,
there. That's
this
rough.
game is becoming a train wreck pretty quickly here. And this base will be taken out, which to some extent economically evens out the playing field. I don't know how many more gold minerals are left at that gold base there for Zerg. But just this position here, this is not that comfy for Zerg. It's hard to contest that location. Zerg doesn't have a real opportunity to counterattack. It looks like he's going to go and try to bludgeon this.
Yeah, like if he can maybe like kill this push, there's definitely potential for him to do a big counterattack as well and take out at least a base. But he needs that, man, because that gold base, as you said, it has to be getting low. He doesn't have much economy left after this.
Okay, this is going to be it. He does pull the 2 Thors in, exposing more of these siege tanks up here. Keep in mind the medevacs are still full, so there's currently not that much on the ground to try to combat this. Blinding Cloud's going down. The Elazer pushes forward, and I think all these siege tanks may be wiped out.
Oh, and the Hellbats being dropped here on top of the Hydras, which are light units, but they do gun those down relatively quickly. The siege tanks, though, getting extra pot shots in, and the Hydras have to pull back. You know, it was a good move by Elazer, but GuMiho dealt with that well enough, I think.
I don't know what's happening with these drones. Why are they up there?
I don't know, man. They just wanted to go to that gas.
So there's another base being taken down here at the bottom left. This may shift the focus of this game onto the bottom half of the map now. Since both players are taking bases in close proximity to each other, neither player can allow it to be ignored. The Ultra Tech is coming up here for Elazer. He's finishing up his tech tree a little bit later, as it should be, based off the tempo of this game. But I'm wondering, does GuMiho have the ability to scoot in and do another really crippling blow here to Elazer?
Well, this army is really good against Hydras, which is the main bulk of what he has right now. But with those Ultras popping out, definitely they can get something done, I would say. A lot of Cyclones being added in, by the way, which I find a little bit interesting.
So he's going to take out this gold base. Not that there's many minerals remaining over there. But this also isolates the bottom left base, which is the real story here, is that Elazer is losing this game of whack-a-mole pretty quickly. And there's just not that much that it seems like he can do about it. He's going to try to come in here now. Now it's going to be Hydras versus tanks. This Ultra absorbing most of that damage as he does spill forward here. Nice blinding clouds.
Yeah, the flank on the Ultra as well. Very nicely done. He's going to be able to take out all of these siege tanks. He's got to save this hatchery, and he should be able to, I think.
I think if he can just micro the Hydras forward a little bit more, yeah, he will. And does he immediately try to seesaw this over to the base just to the right of this? In fact, I don't believe Elazer is aware of that expansion down there in the bottom center.
Yeah, he might not be. I don't think he had anything go down there quite yet. I think it might be a planetary as well, which makes it a bit harder, but, you know, he's just... Oh, God, Vikings come over and land. Good move by GuMiho to finish off that hatchery.
Okay, Cyclones landing down here. The majority of the Zerg army was at the bottom part of the map, but it looks like these links should come up here just in time to force GuMiho to try to pull back out. But right now, Elazer needs to get an economic engine going. He's saving his bases, but he's not really mining from them. If he's not mining from them, he's not going to have the resources to allow him to go into a proper later game. Now, speaking of resources, let's look at what they have. They're both at about 200 minerals. Terran's at about 1,000 gas. Zerg's at about 800 gas. That's a little bit more advantageous just for the immediate time being for the Zerg, but if this game goes on for longer, I think Terran's going to have a better army. And supply-wise, Terran's already maxed out.
Also, he just landed a command center at the gold base, which means that his mineral bank is going to climb ridiculously high. So Elazer is kind of playing with what he has, trying to get some mining going. That's kind of funny that he's building that hatchery there, but there is a gas, I guess. But yeah, Elazer cannot be losing another hatchery.
Oh my God, I think he is about to lose another hatchery.
Oh geez. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that does too much damage. In fact, I think Elazer may have to tap out here. I think he's just lost too much.
Oh, dude, this is sad too. He opened this game so beautifully. Like, he defended everything really well. I felt like he was getting in a good position. And then GuMiho just destroying him when he went into those swarm hosts.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Elazer tap out. Yeah, there it is. GG. Elazer loses game number 3, allowing GuMiho to move on to the winner's match. Now, guys, don't give up on Elazer just yet. He will be in the loser section of this group. He can still get out. He looked very good.
Yeah, no, he really did. Like, he could have won that game. When his swarm hosts all kind of got caught and he lost a ton of them, that was definitely a very painful moment. Was just kind of launching Locust willy-nilly, trying to get anything done, and GuMiho pressed that advantage immediately. Great play by GuMiho. Elazer with very little counter harassment there, but, you know, Elazer looking like he definitely has shots to get out of this group, man. That was really well done.
Yeah, I'm sure Elazer's disappointed, but I think in the grand scheme of things, he did a really good job. I mean, that was the player that won the GSL Codas GuMiho, and he did hold his own.
Yeah.
Game 3 was close. I think he stubbed his toes a couple times.
Yeah. Some things went wrong.
Yeah. We are going to go to a short break here, guys. When we come back, it's Keen versus Rogue in the other side of this group in day 1 of Season 3 of the GSL Codas.